Welcome in. It is day 59 and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. Today we're going to be jumping into a game that, by all definitions at one point, was really scratching up there to be one of my top 10. Unfortunately, it took a bit of a dive, and I'm going to give a little explanation behind that. The name of the game is Great Western Trail. Now, there's a second edition of this game that's come out since, and has a totally different box art. They've changed the inside. The reasoning behind this is they felt that, one, the box wasn't necessarily something grabbing, and two, they felt that maybe the way that they had put in the stereotypes was a little bit offensive, so they updated some of the game. So, if anybody is offended, I apologize. This is just the version I own, and I'm not willing to go spend the money unless I see a massive change of gameplay on another copy. So, Great Western Trail, how does it work? The concept is, you can play 2, 3, or 4 players, and you're trying to collect cows and make your way to Kansas City. So your worker placement, going through this board, slowly going onto spots, using the cards that you have to cash in for some things. You might be saying, hey, if you have a green cow, you're able to get $2 here. If you got a red cow, you can get 3 over here. And then trying to get more workers to add to your placemat. So you might be getting it so, hey, when I buy a cow, instead of me being limited because I only have the one cowboy, I've bumped up to 3 or 4 cowboys, and now I can buy multiple cows, or I can get those single cows at a much cheaper value now, or get the engineers so that you can move faster on the train track. You might be going in on the workers so you can start to build buildings in your town. You're going to slowly build the buildings going onto this big map so that the spots you're going through, you'll notice you jump over a bunch of basically vacant lots. But as people build, now they're required counts to your steps, and if you have to cross over certain people's buildings, you might owe them money, or you can go to their buildings, but you can't use them. You can only use your secondary actions there. There's a lot going on in this game. So let's jump first into our 7 categories. Off the bat, the art. How do I feel about the art? I'm a little split. I feel that the inside of this box is beautiful. I love the board. I love the cards. I think that it tells you that, it sells this theme. But the box cover doesn't do that at all. This cover's bland. It doesn't grab you. When you see it, you don't get excited about a new age game. It feels almost old. It's such a disconnect between the two. And if I were to judge it on just one alone, I'd feel like the inside of that box would be a thumbs up. But not only is this not a thumbs up front box, the disconnect of the inside to the outside is an even bigger reason that I have to thumbs down it. You're not selling me the game. And then I go to somebody's place, I see it, and I go, oh my God, look at this game. They could have done better, and I believe second edition has done better. But I haven't really had a chance to open that up and look at it. I've just seen it in random videos. So I need to do a little bit more investigation to see if that second edition would get a shift in the thumb for me. But this one is a big thumbs down. Components. Your components tend to be a combination of cards for your, slowly building up your cows, going on your missions. You have your individual player mat, which is a nice, little flimsy type feel, type board. That's fine. Comes with a bunch of wooden components that are great. Your meeples are wooden. Those are great. I'd say that the components are overall a thumbs up. Everything seems to be pretty nice. It sells some theme. The pieces that don't need to sell theme just are good components for quality. It's an overall good component setup. Your price. This game's going to fall in that $50 range, maybe $60. Even at $60, I do think it's worth the price. The price isn't insane. You're getting a good game in this box. This game's going to, take a chunk of time, and it's going to have a lot to it, and you're not going to play it once and be done. So I think it's worth its money, and definitely a thumbs up for me. Your difficulty. This one can be a little difficult. I always judge on those 4 different levels: the beginner, the experienced, and the expert, and then the kids. I don't think this is for kids, and I don't think it's for beginners. I think that an experienced player will like it, and I think that it is optimal for those experienced players, but not an expert player. So the experts, they're going to enjoy this, but those experienced players are going to really like it. It comes with a lot of different strategies and a lot of different components, and there's a lot to follow, but I don't think that you get lost. You might just find that you play a second game and realize, oh, I didn't even realize I could do something over here, and you've now grown the game, but you don't feel lost. You enjoy the game, you get to the end, and you might lose by a bunch, but you enjoyed the ride. So thumbs up on difficulty. Replayability. Replayability is interesting. Early on, yes. But the more and more you play the game, it does start to wear on you. Now, I played this game a lot as a result of COVID. It was me and my wife's probably 2 or 3 in the top area for favorites to play one-on-one. And what I found during that time was that while I really liked the game, I discovered that from what I could see, there was a flaw at 2-player. There is a lot of ways to play the game, and I felt like more than half of those ways were not legitimately an option in 2-player. It basically got shut down. In 3 and in 4, it opened up because somebody couldn't run away with the better options. But in a 2-player, somebody could, and all those other options became obsolete. So that's where replayability hit us, and eventually we got bored at 2-player. So I think it's very replayable at 4 and even at 3, but at 2, I don't think it is. Now, that doesn't mean it's not worth getting for that reason. It just means you have to be aware. Are you getting this for you and you only have a spouse or a friend that wants to play with you? Or do you have a game group that actually wants to play the game? Make sure you know. I'm going to give replayability a thumbs down because I don't feel like at 3 or 4 it even gets that many plays in a year. And at 2, it doesn't get any anymore. So to have a whole third of your player count options eliminated, and then to have those other 2 still be an occasional, that hurts. Your routes to victory. Now, again, this is where you have to judge it. I'm going to judge this on a 4-player game. I'm going to eliminate the 2-player. I think that hurts the replayability more. Your routes to victory needs to be judged in the games you do play, and that's going to be at 3 and at 4. Your routes to victory, there are a lot. You can invest in the cows and try to see if you can get lots of points in cows. You can invest in the money and try to get your money amount way up. You can invest in trying to make sure you never make a delivery at Kansas City that's low and you get all the high variance. You can invest in trying to collect your TPs and your different blockages on the board and get the points they're worth. You can invest in picking up your cowboys, your engineers, and your builders, and not only getting points for what they get you, but also as you build them up, once you get 5th and 6th of each of those, you start getting points. You get paid a lot of points than just owing them. You could get your points in moving along your train and picking up the little piece along the way, and instead of worrying about the up top, you're worrying about the below side for where you're moving all of your tokens off your board and get a lot of victory points there. There are a lot of routes to victory, and while I don't think every one of them is an optimal choice, I don't think in a 3 or 4 player, any one of them is a bad choice. I think they all can contribute, and there's not really a runaway obvious first place. There might be 4 or 5 that are like the clear cut, you need to be in here, but it's like, hey, they took the combination of going for the train movement and trying to keep their cows up, and this guy went for getting lots and lots of workers and getting lots of money, and they're still kind of balanced. And the offset to that was they did pick up a whole bunch of the TPs and got something from there. So there's ways for every point to count. It's just that level of importance. Thumbs up for the routes to victory. Unique. I have to say I do feel this is unique. Well, I feel the game has dropped for me a bit. It definitely got hit with that 2-player not being an option. The player board, the uncovering of things as you move it up top, the ability to get missions if you want to, the ability to kind of be moving through in a walking type way, but it's really still a worker placement, but you have movement with that worker placement, repetitively running the same board to be able to build if you want, to be able to buy more workers if you want, to be able to buy more cows if you want. There's so many options here. And then there's the train itself. And I've only ever seen somebody once do it, where they just went all in on a train, and the next thing we knew, they didn't look like they were in the game, and they destroyed us because nobody tried to slow them or get ahead of them on the train, and they just stole every single stop on the train's points. And the next thing we knew, they had like 50 points in train stops. There is such a unique feel to this game, and I gotta give them a thumbs up. So overall, what do I think? I think this one's worth a play, but be aware that you need to play it in a group. This is not a 2-player for me. I think that if you want to own it, you can, but I've found a lot of people are mixed with this game, and I wouldn't rush to buy. I would rush to find somebody else who owns it, or to find a store that you can rent it from, or some way that you can get it to the table first, just to see not only for you, but your game group. I think it is a great game, and I really do enjoy it, and I really think at 4-player, it's probably close to my top 20-ish for 4-player games. But overall, this is just my opinion. You might think very differently than I do. This has been day 59. We've been talking about Great Western Trail, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below. I'll be adding in an Amazon link for everybody so you can go pick this game up if it grabbed you. I'll talk to everybody tomorrow.